Here's a scenario that every SOC analyst lives through, but nobody prepares you for in an interview. You've been closing the same alert every single day for 2 weeks. You've confirmed it's legit. Your teammate says just mark it false positive and move on. What do you actually do in this situation? Now, this question isn't testing whether you can triage threats. It's testing whether you understand SOC maturity, documentation, and your responsibility to the SOC team. Now, we brought back our 3 candidates and Eric Capuano to show you what separates analysts who just close tickets from analysts who make the whole operation better. And if you're interviewing for a SOC role at any level, this is the kind of question that trips people up because it feels administrative, but the answer reveals everything about how you think. Let's step into the interview.
Definitely start looking into tuning the logging on it. If you have a SIEM, obviously, that's what we're going off of. You're able to do a lot of tuning and whitelisting, blacklisting, stuff like that in the configuration. So I'd probably start by doing that so that we're not having, 2 weeks worth of work being spent on something that is a legitimate traffic or process.
So I think you nailed it. I mean, that's generally the right answer here. I'll just add just one caveat is, first of all, why has this investigation, this alert been firing and being investigated for 2 weeks, 3 to 4 times a day, right? Like there's still a big unanswered question there, but his approach, his answer, assuming that those past 2 weeks were thorough and accurate and solid investigations, but let's assume that they were, then yes, his answer is correct. This thing should have been tuned 2 weeks ago, but at least right now, get it done. Because the biggest mistake that the teammate is recommending is just close this false positive, only extends the duration that we get to waste our time with this alert. And so he's 100% right. Tune it. And I like how he delivered that confidently. He knew the answer, and I would agree. He's right.
Well, it's also going to depend on my familiarity with the teammate. If they're, a senior analyst or someone that's on the same level of experience or lower, noisy alerts can cause alert fatigue, which is always something you have to watch out for. But I would really hesitate to automatically just close out a false positive just because it was true this time doesn't mean it's always going to be true the next time. Might have to put in some tuning to change the threshold of alerting. It's already established a baseline of reporting multiple times a day to the same IP at the same time. You can set your tune to if it deviates from this, then to create another alert or to throw a flag, have a webhook to send an email to have somebody look at it closely, but not just tune it out completely.
I want to spend a minute talking about the first thing that he opened with, because I've got some feelings about it. He said, it depends on my familiarity with the teammate. Are they senior? Are they maybe lower experience? The main issue I have with that is I have seen senior people do the complete wrong thing, and I have seen junior people crush it. So in my experience, I don't weight seniority when judging necessarily, does this person know what they're talking about? I consider, the facts. What are they saying to me, and how can I independently validate that, right? Because a senior can mislead me just as much as a junior, and either of them could also be correct. So I would kind of strike that one from the list because I don't really think it has much merit in a conversation like this. The other thing I would say is I can understand his skepticism around, well, I don't want to just assume this is another false positive just because it's been a false positive every day 3 or 4 times for the past 2 weeks. I don't want to just assume it's a false positive now. But how much more data do we need? 3 to 4 times a day for 2 weeks straight, and it's been investigated every day for 2 weeks? If it is not a false positive by now, like proven, definitive, then we need to question our investigation methodology, right? A well-investigated alert that produces a high confidence, this is a false positive, should not create another false positive again. That's the general rule. So if you're constantly in this paranoia mode of, but what if one day it's not, then you will forever be buried under the thousands and thousands of FPs that you were too afraid to close and tune. And that's just not the place you want to be, right? You must be able to operate with confidence. That is a requirement. Now, I'm not saying that every person in a SOC has the confidence to say, definitely a false positive, let's close it out. But after 2 weeks, 3 or 4 times a day, I'm going to hope by now the people that have put eyes on this thing have the confidence to say it's a false positive, close it. And if they don't, we've got a different problem. So if it's been determined to be a false positive for 2 straight weeks, as a manager of that team, I'm not happy that it's still happening. And I'm not going to be happy if it keeps happening because somebody was nervous and didn't trust the data that we had. Because guess what? That false positive is one of many, and they all need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed swiftly and accurately. We have 2 weeks of history here. Let's make a decision and let's stick to it so we can move on, because it's never going to stop. We can only reduce the false positive volume over time, but we have to be making decisions in order to get that done.
So if the same alert is firing constantly, consistently, we've investigated several times already, we're already kind of not doing what we should have been doing. So I think the general rule of thumb that I try to give people is if this alert is fired once and you've investigated it, that's fine, like you've done your job. If it fires 2 or 3 more times, that's when you need to start considering, should this be suppressed in this alert in some capacity? So if this alert is firing constantly, we've investigated it multiple times, and we can identify that there is actually a true business need for this sort of execution to be happening, that's when we need to adjust that rule logic or suppress it or filter it out in some way, to make sure that we're not wasting any more time. So the coworker that's saying just close it as false positive, they're taking the easy solution, which is just close it out like we know what it is. But false positives are going to pile up from lots of different alerts, and they're going to very quickly become time sinks. Versus if you take the 5-10 minutes to put in a filter request, suppress that activity, you're not going to have to waste any more time constantly investigating that alert.
I love it. 100%. And this right here, this is a really good demonstration of someone who's been in the trenches, has had to deal with the false positive problem themselves, but also now has more of a strategic level of thinking about it. You can tell he clearly understands that the SOC is a machine, and the machine has to be well oiled. It has to be constantly tuned in order to be at peak performance. And it's the short-sighted decisions like, just close it out, it's a false positive. Those are the decisions that keep the machine below suboptimal, right? It's going to be running slow and hot, and but this is the perspective of someone who understands what it takes to keep that machine at peak performance. And it's stressing the importance of do not take the easy way out, do not skip to the shortcut. And you know what? I actually do appreciate his approach here. He said, sure, maybe the first time it fires, maybe we just, false positive. Maybe it never happens again. So let it go. But the second, the third, the fourth, now it's no longer a decision. Like, it needs to be addressed because it's going to become a pattern. So let's get ahead of it now. Because if we don't have that mindset, well, now multiply that times thousands. That's what your backlog is going to look like, right? And that's when you get into the game of, we missed the threat actor because we've got 10,000 alerts in the queue and nobody knows where to start because we have never taken an aggressive stance on tuning. So anyway, no real notes other than that is the right answer through and through, is not just thinking about it through the lens of this one false positive, but understanding that it's one of thousands that will keep coming if we don't make a decision and follow through with it.
Great work, Eric. I really appreciate that. I know people watching got value from that. As far as, you've done many, many interviews. As far as this question being something that people should expect to see in a job interview for a SOC analyst, where does it land?
I would say all three have been a direct hit. And this one I really do like, because it's not the most obvious answer necessarily, because again, as we saw, there's sometimes that tendency of the paranoia, the tinfoil hat, which is well placed sometimes in our field, because you don't want to be too quick to make the wrong decision, right? And so, but the problem is it's a double-edged sword. If you're always exercising the paranoia of, well, what if we close it and then it ends up being bad? You could say that about everything you're going to do here, right? It's having the skill set, having the confidence of making that determination, saying, I did the deep dive. I investigated this. In the case of this question, we investigated this 14 times, actually. Let's make a decision and let's move on. And that's not, I think, an automatic trait for a lot of folks, because they're going to be sort of like paralyzed in that fear of, but what if we're wrong? Well, that's a comfort you're going to have to develop, is having confidence to know that will I ever reach 100% certainty that I could never be wrong, that this could never be a true negative or a false negative, I'm sorry. No, but am I at 99.98% on it? Yes. And that's good enough for me to stop the flood of alerts. And that's something I think comes with time. And it definitely comes with the pressure of having to run an efficient and effective team. It's a requirement to think this way.
I love it. So if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit subscribe, because we are actually doing, Eric and I, a collection of videos, each video a different interview question for that SOC analyst job. So if you got value from this one, I promise you the other videos you're going to get value from. And if you're not sure SOC's for you, we have very similar 5 videos on GRC, 5 videos on pen tester interview with that junior, mid, and senior level candidates answering the questions, giving you incredible insight and feedback on those interviews that unfortunately you can't get really anywhere else. Also, bonus, if you are an aspiring SOC analyst and you want to get that repetition, that hands-on keyboard, dirty hands of experiencing detection tuning and seeing alerts and knowing when it's real and when it's positive and how to do those investigations, Eric actually has an amazing course/lab that will have you set up an environment, fire alerts, do attacks, see them in the SIEM, do tuning, and be able to detect them. It's amazing. I'll link it below. It's called So You Want to Be a SOC Analyst. Just another amazing thing that Eric has done for the community. Eric, thank you so much for being part of this. And everyone, until next time, stay secure.